Yesterday was day 131 of protests in the city of Elizabeth City over the police assassination of Andrew Brown Jr. that took place on April 21st, 2021 in Elizabeth City by the Pasquotank County Sheriff's Department, being assisted by the Dare County Sheriff's Department. And so we are here, and we've been marching every day for 131 days in a row. It's an incredible feat. It's definitely, a historic showcase. Elizabeth City is a relatively small town of approximately 20,000 or so people as of the 2010 census, though I'm sure that there's maybe more people here now at this point. But either way, we have been protesting for 131 days in a row. We have accomplished a diversity of tactics. We have done all kinds of things. And we have, shouted in the far reaches of the county. We've shouted on the streets of Elizabeth City, in the residential neighborhoods, in the upscale neighborhoods, in the lower scale neighborhoods, downtown. We've done it in the business districts. We have chanted for justice almost everywhere there is to chant for justice in Pasquotank County, North Carolina. And we're still out here, and we're still going to do it. If we need to do a second lap, a third lap, a fifth lap, a 20th lap, we're still going to do it. Because at this point in time, it is August 30th, 2021, the sheriff deputies who shot and murdered Andrew Brown Jr. have gotten a raise, several weeks of paid vacation, and they're still on the force. They're still patrolling our streets. Who knows who they're going to kill next? And until the murderers are brought to justice, we are going to be out here chanting for justice, because it is important. It is extremely important. Again, I always say this. If I'm working down at the mechanic shop, and I grab a wrench, and I go into the lobby, and I beat the shit out of a random customer and kill them, I wouldn't have gotten a raise. I wouldn't have gotten a paid vacation. I would have been sent to jail while they try me, because, I killed someone. I would be sent to jail at least until the trial. But if you're a police officer, somehow you can kill people, get a paid vacation, sit on your ass, watch Netflix, get a raise, and go back to work in a couple weeks. That doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. But this is the world that we live in. This is the world that we live in North Carolina, in Pasquotank County, and in Elizabeth City. The Elizabeth City police aren't protecting and serving. They have failed to do their job. They were not the ones who murdered Andrew Brown Jr., but they were the ones who made sure that people who protested the murder of Andrew Brown Jr. were brutally harassed, stalked, followed, threatened, harmed, physically injured, emotionally damaged, sent to court for frivolous charges. The Elizabeth City Police Department has handled the protests horribly. Now, they tried to save face and do some positive PR when it came to giving permits for certain marches over the course of, day 30 or so, all the way to day, 90. But then they pulled out and said that, we don't really feel like doing this anymore. We feel like y'all have made your point. If we had made our point, then the 7 sheriff deputies of Pasquotank County Sheriff's Department would be in custody. And correct me if I'm wrong, but can't the Elizabeth City Police Department bring them to custody? Aren't they technically capable of doing that? I mean, they are, ostensibly here to protect and to serve. Why can't they do that? Why can't they at least attempt to do that? It's because they're feckless, useless, and obnoxious. The Elizabeth City Police Department, during the course of the protest, let a raging, individual who said, quote, "If the police weren't here, y'all wouldn't be safe." As soon as they said that, the police literally drove out of their way, gave them an opening, and they hit 3 protesters. Then when I asked this police officer, they said, "We have to protect them from you." Them being the one who had just hit 3 officers. The police have been, and the Elizabeth City Police, have been very, very, very horribly tending to this protest. They have several times nearly injured protesters. They have allowed for people to nearly injure protesters. The chief of police, Eddie Buffalo, saw a hit and run. A vehicle hit a protester and drove off in front of the chief of police. And his response was, "You can't tell me what I saw. I didn't see anything," even though as the hit took place, I looked over and saw, and he was staring right at us. So he saw exactly what happened, but he's the chief of police, and he doesn't have to do his job. And so we are in a system where our local government, the city council, is useless. They might be on the right side of certain political issues, but they have no power. They are useless and they cannot accomplish anything. So we are in a position where the only politicians we have are either useless, as in they can't do anything. They might have the right take on certain instances, but they are useless, or they are garbage. They are corrupt. We are looking at a county commission, Pasquotank County's commission, that is charging $28,000 to remove a Confederate statue. But wait, the company that they're supposed to be working with shifted their bid from $28,000 to $78,000. The statue is not going to be moved. It was voted on to be removed over a year ago, and they have dragged their feet so considerably to the point where now it's not even going to be moved at all, because they don't care about what the people in Elizabeth City or Pasquotank County want. They only care about what is going to make them the most money. They are corrupt and useless at every level of governance in Elizabeth City, in Pasquotank County, and this has resulted in a situation where murderers are allowed to walk free, and protesters who say, hey, murder is bad, actually, are sent to jail, threatened with physical violence, in some instances actually on the recipient end of physical violence, having their entire evening stripped from them because they were arrested while walking on the sidewalk, having to go to court, lose work days and work hours for frivolous charges that should have been dropped ages ago, because this city, this state, and this county do not give a shit about us. They don't care. They won't care. No amount of begging or pleading will have them care. The only way that we can show that this is unacceptable is with the power of the people joining together and protesting every single day. And so that's what we've been trying to accomplish. And, we're 131 days in. Today will be day 132, and I'll tell you what happens tomorrow. But, we ain't going nowhere. So that's Elizabeth City, North Carolina, folks. We're putting in the work.